Hi, every year since 2004, the Windsor Essex region hosts Relay for Life, fundraising for the Canadian Cancer Society. I'm Andrea Seal, the CEO of the Canadian Cancer Society, and I'm very grateful for your participation today. This is the region's largest Cancer Society fundraiser, and it's normally held in person, but we're going to be virtual again this year on June 12th. And this Windsor-style pizza-making class is our kickoff event for relay season. So much has changed over this last year. I really hope you're all staying safe and healthy. But one thing that unfortunately hasn't changed is that people with cancer need our support. And I know that this community will be there for them. Relay for Life events take place all around the country, but this is one of the few that remains a 12-hour event when it's held in person. So it's a special one. And even in the virtual format that we've had to have in the last year, you surpassed your fundraising targets. You really kept the community engaged. And I know there's lots more in store in 2021. So your hosts and teachers for this wonderful class tonight are Chef Gaetano from Ambassador Pizza in Toronto and Chef Julian from the Chef Upstairs. You may have read in the Star how they are the unofficial embassy for Windsor in Toronto. So thank you, chefs, for donating your expertise and time. Thank you also to some special guests joining us, LaSalle Mayor Mark Bondi and Tecumseh Mayor Gary McNamara. We look forward to seeing them in action in their kitchens. And it's amazing. We also have guests tonight from all across the country, as well as Germany and the Caribbean and the US. It's great. This is a no-cost event, but we really hope that you're going to make donations to the Windsor-Essex County Relay for Life. That will be much appreciated. Your donations support groundbreaking cancer research. They help people get access to cancer treatment that they need, and they allow us to provide a compassionate support system for everyone who needs it. So have a great time. Thank you to the wonderful organizing committee, and I thank you for your support of the Canadian Cancer Society's Relay for Life.
Hello, pizza lovers. I'm Carol O'Gorman, and on behalf of the local Windsor-Essex Relay for Life Committee, thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your donations. We are so excited to have over 1,000 people making pizza tonight from so many locations. I really enjoyed sharing the emails from so many of you who had moved away from Windsor, mentioning how you miss our excellent local pizzas. In addition to Chefs Gaetano and Julian, who are teaching us, we are joined by Gary McNamara, the mayor of Tecumseh, Mark Bondi, the mayor of LaSalle, and Chef Joel Beneteau from Williams Food Equipment. We will be checking on their pizza skills by peeking into their kitchens. We'll also be joined by Isabel Hinch from the University of Windsor Cancer Research, which is funded by your donations, and Mindy Glover, one of the co-chairpersons for Relay for Life, who will be wrapping up today's event. If you have any questions, please add them to the chat. Tonight could not have been possible if it were not for the Chef Upstairs. I encourage you to check out their website, sign up for some of their courses. They're excellent, and I have learned some really good cooking skills and have some great recipes. So now to meet Chefs Gaetano of Ambassador Pizza and Chef Julian from the Chef Upstairs, cooking in the studios. Hello. Sorry to interrupt you, but we're working on the sound. Apparently, we have a sound problem at the moment. Okay? No, just if you could hold on a second, that would be great. Thank you.
Questa mattina mi son svegliata. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Questa mattina mi son svegliata ed ho trovato l'invasor. Oh partigiano, portami via. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Oh partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. Se io muoio da partigiano, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E se io muoio da partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire. Mi seppellirai lassù in montagna. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Mi seppellirai lassù in montagna, sotto l'ombro di un bel fiore. E tutti quelli che passeranno, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. E tutti quelli.
Hi everybody, I'm so sorry for that technical issue on my part here. I believe we now have sound up and running, so we are going to kick it off from the beginning. We had the video already, so the two chefs are going to kick it off from where they started.
We're going to kick it off.
Ready to go?
Yep, take it away guys. Thanks for that, sorry about it.
Not a problem.
Hey everyone out there, how are we doing today? Tonight now, it's okay, it's okay. Look, as long as there's no technical issues with the pizza, we'll just forget the last 15 minutes happened, okay? We had a little time to drink some wine, to socialize, get yourself organized, ready to go. Chef Gaetano, how you doing over there?
I'm doing fantastic now that you guys can hear me. Wonderful.
Yeah, man. So, hey, I'm Chef Julian. I'm here at the Chef Upstairs. And the Chef Upstairs, what do we do? Well, last year and a bit, we've been running some of the most amazing virtual cooking classes, well, across the world now. Keeps us connected, keeps us honing our skills, and keeps us, keeps our belly fulls, right? So we're going to be making some Windsor-style pizza, and really my job here today is to be the layman and to, just be one of you trying to learn how to make this delicious and unique style of pizza. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to send this over to Chef Gaetano. Chef Gaetano Pugliese of Ambassador Pizza. Tell us, what's so special about Windsor-style pizza?
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for having us, everyone. Julian, I will say that, Windsor Pizza, we hold, as Windsorites, we hold our pizza very near and dear to us. It's probably the thing we're probably the most proud of here in Windsor. And I think the most unique thing about it visually would be the shredded pepperoni and the canned mushrooms. But you cannot have Windsor pizza without galati cheese. And that's not trying to sell it or anything, but that is it goes down to the fat content. It's a very high butter fat, and it makes the flavor, and it makes the nice cheesy pull that you get with that quintessential cheesy pizza.
And look, Windsor style pizza is so good. You brought it to Toronto, my hometown here. So why don't you tell us a short story of how Windsor, or I should say how Ambassador Pizza got to come to Toronto?
Well, as you know, I am a chef by trade. I'm a private chef, and my mentor, Chef Rennie Chauvin, is also a Windsorite. And we both got together about 4 years ago to get this plan together that we're going to bring Windsor Pizza to Toronto. And, we've been working on our business plan for the last 3 or 4 years, and we finally found a location during a global pandemic of all time. And we said, you know what, let's do this. Let's pull the trigger on it. And sure enough, this February 9th, I believe, was our first soft opening, and it was crazy. But that was the day that Toronto received true Windsor-style pizza, and we haven't looked back. It's been a wild ride for the last 2-3 months, and we're really blessed and really grateful for all the support, not only from Torontonians, but especially from our people back home, from our Windsor expats and our Windsor peeps.
Windsor expat. So like when you move to Toronto, you're now a Windsor expat?
That's right. Absolutely. We have our Windsor flag flying outside of our little embassy, we call it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for bringing the pride of Windsor to Toronto. I just want to remind everyone why we're doing this tonight. This is all in support of the Windsor Excess Relay for Life to support cancer research. So an amazing cause. This is a free event, so please, we urge you all to donate generously. You can find the donation link on the Eventbrite website in this event link. If you're on YouTube stream, you just look into the event description. And over here, you can also find it in the chat box. So please donate generously. We're going to see as we go through this class what our donations are at. Get excited, get amped up. But before we get started, I actually want to send it over to Joel Beneteau from Williams Food Equipment, our premier sponsor. Tell us what kind of fancy schmancy equipment are you going to be using tonight?
Well, tonight I'm going to be using the a KitchenAid mixer and a few knives and a Breville countertop oven. But I just wanted to also mention that we have available a full array of everything you could ever need for pizza making. Home pizza ovens, pizza trays, not pizza mixers, but dough mixers, and all your knives, the best selection of knives in probably all of Canada, I would say. And pizza stones, food processors, everything. Now, right now, for those that are in Windsor, we are doing curbside service. Mother's Day is coming up, so a whole bunch of great gift ideas to be had. And we do ship all across the country through our website, williamsfoodequipment.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Joel, and thank you for your generous sponsorship. Well, without further ado, everyone, let's get cooking. Chef Gaetano, are you ready to start cooking?
I am. How about you, Julian?
All right, I'm ready to start making the dough. Now,
okay.
You're gonna be using the mixer just like Joel, but not all of us are fortunate enough to have a mixer in our house. So I'm going to be doing everything the hard way. So you'll probably be focused on Chef Gaetano while he's showing his magic. I urged him to toss the pizza dough up in the air later. I'm going to do it by hand, everything by hand. So as he's making it, I'll also explain what we're doing here. So if you're with me, you just need to be adding your flour into a bowl. We all have the recipe. It's 3 cups of the 00 flour. And actually, what's the significance of 00 flour before we move on from there?
So Julian and everybody, 00 flour is probably the best type of flour to be using for pizza. I do know that some people do use all-purpose, and that's fine, but you're not going to get that nice, loose, soft dough as you would with a more finer grain than as you would with 00 flour. And that's kind of where, that's the standard. That's the Italian standard. No matter what pizza you're using, or you're making, whether it's beans, New York, Chicago deep dish, Detroit style, you want to be using 00 flour.
And here, when I heard you say Italian standard, I thought you were going to say Italian stallion for some reason. I don't know. I was thinking Rocky. Anyway, I digress. Shall we get started? Chef Gaetano,
Absolutely.
What are we going to start with here?
Okay, guys, we're going to start with 3 cups of 00 flour. We're then going to use our quick rapid rise yeast. We're going to use 2 1/4 teaspoons of that. Now, we have 1 cup of warm water. Now, you want to go slightly above warm, because if it's too hot, then it burns the yeast and it kills it. If you use too cold, then it doesn't really get the chance to activate. All right. Now, what you could do at home is you could also just add the yeast to the flour. But what we're going to do today is we're going to add our yeast to our water, and we're going to give it a little stir.
Just with a fork, right? Something? What do you
I
got
use
there?
the back of a spoon. Very high tech.
All right.
I also have, what's that?
I was just asking, I should mix it until it looks dissolved?
No, you can let it go. Mix it a couple times, a couple turns of the fork should be fine. I'm also going to add my 1 tablespoon of sugar to that as well. Now, what happens when you add sugar to yeast? Yeast eats sugar, and you create those bubbles, carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
You're going to make that you're going to give that a little bit of a stir, and you're going to let that sit. Give it about 3 or 4 minutes. It doesn't need too long because it is rapid rise yeast. You should notice that it's going to start clumping up right away. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm starting to get some bubbles on top, and that's kind of what you want. In the meantime, we're going to take our bowl. We're going to add our 3 cups of 00 flour to our mixing bowl. Now, Julian, you could be doing this with your hand, and I call it the hand spatula. And that's all you really need if you don't have one of these machines. All right, so I add this to my bowl.
Hold on, should I wash my hands first?
100%.
Yeah, my hands are washed. I assure you all at home.
Hands
okay?
are washed, as are mine. All right, now, if you are using a mixer, a stand mixer at home, you want to be making sure you're using the hook attachment. If you're using the paddle, you're not going to get that nice dough and gluten formulation. You're just going to get kind of a broken, almost like cookie dough, right? But you really want to use the hook attachment. So we're going to set that. We're going to fix that up together here like this. I'm going to take another look at my yeast, and you know what? That is almost. I'd say it's about halfway there for now. All right.
And
now,
and I'm smelling this yeast water mixture, and it kind of smells like beer.
well, actually, Julian, I think everybody in Windsor knows what it smells like in Walkerville. What's that quintessential smell in Walkerville? That's yeast, because they're making mash for the whiskey. That is exactly what you're smelling here.
So if this doesn't work out, I can make myself a single malt for later.
I think you need a different kind of yeast for that. On that point, I did bring some dry fresh yeast, and this is like a baker's yeast. It's a little more. It's definitely fresh. It takes a little longer. You need more of it to make your product. But I find if you can get your hands on it, it is a really nice finished product. And if you ever have a hard time finding that, just go ask Chef Dave Mancini of Italia Bakery. He might be able to help you out. So our yeast looks like it's just about finished. It's just about ready. It's already activated. We have our sugar in there. We have our yeast. Now you can also use honey if you don't have sugar, or if you like the flavor of honey. You can even use maple syrup if you want. But let's not get too crazy. Let's just stick with the honey or the sugar. So I'm going to add my water and my yeast and my sugar mixture.
And I should just hold off. Should I hold off for now?
Yeah, let me get going with this, and then we can continue.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to start mixing. We're going to bring up our bowl. Make sure all the safeties are on. We're going to start our mixer on low. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, but it's mixing the sugar, the water, the yeast, the flour together. We are going to hold off on adding our salt and we're going to hold off on adding our oil. Now, why are we going to hold off on adding the salt? Because as the same thing that as sugar activates the yeast, salt will kill it. It has the adverse effect to it. So we don't really want to kill the yeast yet. We want to let it activate, let it get in the dough, let it mix up there and eat that sugar. I'm going to say in about 2 minutes, we're going to add our salt, and that's going to come together. In another minute, we're going to add our oil. Julian, you can continue.
All right. Well, should I start mixing?
Absolutely.
Do my hand paddle thing, or should I use a fork?
Do the hand paddle. No, don't use a fork, because if you use a fork, what's going to happen, you're just going to be pulling it off the fork. Use your hand. It's fine. As long as you have clean hands, you shouldn't have a problem.
Right. Thanks for reminding me again. Clean hands. All right. I love getting my hands dirty. I don't know about the jacket. I should have worn a full body apron here. I try not to do my laundry too often.
Well, Mike, our friends at Me Chef gave us these embroidered Ambassador Pizza Co. Really fancy aprons, and they're black. So they're gorgeous. But when you're using flour, they turn white. So I recommend wearing white.
So I've been mixing my water yeast mixture and my flour. I've almost got my flour incorporated. Should I add my salt and oil now?
That's right. So now, if you're noticing in the bottom of the mixture, you have your dough starting to create those gluten strands. What we're going to do is we're going to add our salt.
I'm getting.
We're going to give it another minute.
I'm getting a little messy here. That's okay.
That's all right. You just pull the fingers off. Pull it off the fingers. Okay, so we added our salt. I'm going to let that go for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'm going to add our oil. Now, what happens when you know you're doing your pizza dough correctly is when it starts to clean all that stuff off the side of the bowl. Once you're done, you should have a nice, clean mixing bowl at the end. It should have grabbed and taken everything. It might be a little tacky, and that's why I like to keep a little bit of extra flour just in case I need to dust it, because it depends where you are. If the humidity in the air is too high, you might have to actually add a little bit more flour. If it's very dry, you might have to exclude a little bit of the water or the moisture.
Oh man, I didn't bring my barometer here to check air pressure or humidity.
Okay, guys, I am going to start adding our oil. And I don't add it all at once. I add it in a slow stream until it's finished.
So here I've got a dough ball. There's just a few crumbs left in the bowl. Should I continue in the bowl? Should I transfer it onto the counter? What do you think?
If you're doing it by hand, Julian, I want you to put it onto the bowl, or sorry, onto your bench, we call it. And I want you to start kneading it with the palm of your hand. Okay. Almost like you're making pasta dough.
And you were mentioning to me earlier not to over knead this dough, right?
At this point, it's okay to knead it for about 5 to 6 minutes. So you will get that workout happening, right? But it's really the next part where you really don't want to over knead it, right? So I'm having the same thing is happening in my bowl, where it's not quite coming together all together right now. But if you let it go, that moisture should absorb into the flour and should get a really nice, smooth dough.
You're saving me on my lack of gym membership here. I'm getting my upper body workout. Thank you for that.
So guys, if you're noticing at the bottom of your bowl, you're getting a lot of product that's getting stuck to the bottom there like that. Well, what I do is I just take it off, use my hand, my clean hands, and just move it around so that it's kind of come all apart. And we're gonna add that back. This way, you don't get any little pieces stuck at the bottom there.
I gotta say, Chef, this dough's coming together pretty nicely here.
And I would say it's probably better to use your hands. I mean, that's what they've been doing for hundreds. They didn't have a KitchenAid mixer back in Napoli 400 years ago, right? They were doing it by hand, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah. I think people were stronger back then, though, right?
Yeah, stronger and shorter.
Do you remember?
I would have fit right in.
For those of you out there that don't know, Chef Gaetano and I actually worked together for a couple of years at an Italian restaurant in Toronto here.
In Miami. Don't forget Miami.
And in Miami. Yeah, we got sent to Miami. And yeah, we had, I remember Franca. We had a Nona working in the kitchen with us, and her forearms were like Popeye. Like she did all the doughs. And I just remember, like, you didn't want to mess with Franca.
No, she's a good lady. All right, guys. So my mixture is starting to form. Now, if you're starting to get a little impatient, just be patient. What you can do is you can turn it off. If you're getting impatient, don't worry about it. Just be patient. So we're going to take that off, and you know what? I'm going to actually finish this just like Julian's doing. I'm going to finish this on my counter, on my bench. I'm going to take this aside, and I'm going to continue kneading it.
And what do you think?
Have a nice.
Have I been kneading mine long enough? How do I know if it doesn't need to be kneaded?
So you should know that. You should know by the consistency. It should be all one nice color. You shouldn't have little clumps of discolored flour, or clumps of oil that it looks like, or moisture and dry spots. You shouldn't have little clumps of flour breaking apart. It should be one nice smooth dough.
Smooth, got it.
And this might take a little bit of time to get this to work for us, but it's all about patience.
Dude, I'm a smooth operator. I'm gonna get this real smooth real soon. All right. And so look, I think my dough is ready to go on the, to start resting, to start proofing. Where should I put this right now? Should I put it on an oil tray? Do I need to cover it? I'm just thinking about other doughs.
Absolutely. So if you have a tray like this at home, you can put it in a Tupperware container if you like. But what I would do is absolutely add a tiny bit of oil to the bottom.
So
just
hold on.
Use your hands.
So you're gonna make that little pizza? That's all you're gonna do?
Oh no. I don't do anything small.
I'm gonna be making a family-sized party pizza, and yes, this is only for my wife and I and our 2 young children. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it together.
All right. So my dough is almost finished as well. Yeah, so a little bit of oil on the bottom.
Yep.
And a little on top as well. Yeah, that's right.
Any plastic wrap or just a bit of oil on top?
Yes. So you can use plastic wrap if you have a very damp rag, dried out damp rag. I know that's going against what I just said, but a wrung out damp rag over top should give it that moisture. It's not going to dry out and get those dry clumps on it.
How does it look, buddy?
Looks great. Looks great. How is everybody doing out there? I hope everybody's following us and everybody's able to. How are we doing, Mayor?
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to check in with Mayor Gary McNamara from Tecumseh. How's your dough doing out there?
Actually, sorry, the mayor from Tecumseh is not here yet. He's trying to get on, but he's having some issues. We can go to Mark Bondi, though.
Slacker. All right. Well, how about our other in-house mayor, Mark Bondi?
Oh, I'm just having a dough of a time, if you know what I mean.
Come on, leave the dad humor for me. Let's see your dough. Let's see your dough muscles. Come on.
This is what I get a ball.
Hey.
Let's see. All right, that's good, guys. Look, this is what you're kind of looking at. I don't know if you can see that clearly. If there's a glare. All right, so that's basically what you're looking at. So I'm caught there. And I'm going to add just a little bit of oil over top, not too much. And just give it a little fat. I'm going to add a little bit of cellophane wrap just over top.
Hey Joel, how you doing out there? How's your dough looking? How'd that mixer work out for you? I keep looking up.
Perfectly.
Oh, very good. Sorry, I keep looking up at you, and I keep having to remind myself that John Lennon isn't around anymore.
Oh. Julian.
That's a compliment. That's okay. He was an icon, okay?
I tried.
Hey, we're just keeping it real here. All right. Mayor, you're wrapping up your dough? You feeling good? Getting cleaned up? Awesome. So I think the next thing on the agenda is the sauce while we let our dough proof on the countertop. Now, we requested that everyone go out and grab a very specific type of tomato. Why don't you tell us a bit about that, Chef Gaetano?
So guys, look, we come from Windsor in Essex County, and another thing we're extremely proud of is Leamington tomatoes. However, when we're making pizza, when any kind of pizza, especially in Windsor, we are using San Marzano tomatoes, specifically San Marzano tomatoes, usually from the Campania region in Italy. It's a very special breed, if you will, of tomatoes. They're a little sweeter. The acid content is a little more at bay. But what we're going to do is are we starting this right now? Are we starting the sauce right now, or am I just
You tell me, but, well, I actually, I get questions all the time about these San Marzano tomatoes. I get questions, why does it say DOP on the can? I mean, that's pretty significant.
So that's an Italian stamp of approval. It means that it's an Italian heritage product where the government of Italy has said we stand behind this product as our heritage product of Italy. DOP prosciutto, DOP Parmigiano Reggiano, DOP buffalo mozzarella. What have you, San Marzano tomatoes. Our wine, I believe, is DOCG, right? And it's all, every country in Europe, I believe, has that. The Spanish have it, the French have it, Germany has it. But that's our stamp of approval.
Oh, and actually, before we get going, I just wanted to send a couple thanks out there. We've got a couple great donations. We're just getting some updates now. First of all, $500 from Reed Williams from Williams Food Equipment. Amazing. Thank you very much. And I just saw we got $1,000. Let's see here. I want to make sure I get the person. $1,000 from Chris Romano. Thank you, Chris. And I'll tell you what, if anybody matches Chris's $1,000 donation for cancer research, Chef Gaetano is going to show his world-famous pizza flipping tricks. Well, we'll just say the dough, okay? We'll leave the sauce, we'll leave it cold, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your donations. And just a reminder to everyone, you can donate on the Eventbrite event site, in the YouTube description, or in the chat box. We have a link. Without further ado, why don't we get started on making our sauce?
Okay, wonderful. Now, guys, as it says in the recipe, we want to be using one can. And now it's a 28-ounce can. Should be a small can like this. I mean, if you want to use more, that's fine. Or make some, you can even freeze it. It's great for later. I use one can of the San Marzano tomatoes, which are their whole tomatoes. So again, this is where you want to really wash your hands. Okay, make sure you get in there and wash everything, because I'm going to go in there, and maybe this is something the kids can do. Get in there, and you're going to squish those tomatoes by hand. Now, if you have a submersion blender, you can use that. Just remember, the more you blend it, the more water that's going to come out on it. And you really want to make sure that, I personally like it when it's nice and clumpy. So I'm going to get my hands in there, and I'm going to start squishing away.
This just feels nice. I like this. Mayor, let's see your hand. We got to see proof that you're using your hands there. Hey, very good. Always good to have a sense of humility in politics, right?
Now, you got to make sure that you're wearing an apron or something, because as you squeeze those tomatoes, they're going to shoot out. The juice is going to shoot out every which way. So make sure you're wearing something that you don't really care about.
I'm just keeping a lot of distance here, right? Or alternatively, you could wear a red shirt, right?
Yeah, or you could just squeeze it in the direction of someone you don't like.
Yeah, very good. All right.
All right. So make sure you get any large chunks in there. broken apart. All right.
And Chef Gaetano, do you already have your garlic chopped up there?
I do. I have my garlic chopped up and I have my basil chiffonade already, which
Wow.
means very thinly sliced.
All right. Well, how about I do a little tutorial for those of you at home on mincing your garlic and doing, what was that fancy word you said, Gaetano?
Chiffonade.
Chiffonade. Like I don't know it. All right. So we're going to hop down here at the cutting board for mincing our garlic. I just like crushing the side. Make sure you get rid of those little dry ends. And once you've crushed it up, bring it into the center. I like to give it just a bit of a rough chop. I feel terrible. I'm like teaching a whole bunch of Italians how to mince garlic. It's like the pressure's on here. They're like, oh, that's not how you mince garlic. Come on. All right. And then you see we do this rocking motion. And how small should you mince your garlic? I always ask people this question is, how big of a piece of garlic are you willing to bite into? That's how small you should be mincing it down. So once your garlic is minced, you just put it into your crushed tomatoes, Chef Guy?
That's right. So once your garlic is minced, throw that into your tomatoes. I have mine already finished here. I'm going to use a wooden spoon because it makes it taste better, I guess.
And sorry, the basil's going in the sauce or on the pizza at the end?
No, we're gonna put now. If you're doing say a Napolitan style margarita, then you would be putting it on at the end, actually in the sauce as well as at the end. But we are gonna put it directly inside the sauce.
All right.
Now, can you use dried basil? Of course, and actually the traditional Windsor style would actually be dried basil, but I think we're going to use dried oregano and fresh basil. So we're going to do that as well.
And by the way, Gaetano, this basil's fresh from my little basement hydroponic garden I got going on.
Oh, beautiful. See, keep it all at local.
Yeah, and look, what I'm doing here, I'm just going to take one big leaf. I'm going to stack some of the smaller leaves on top of it.
And what's that called, Julian?
Roll that up. And then I just like to slice right across the basil. And we get those nice ribbons, almost like the pepperoni, right?
And what's that called?
Chiffonade.
That's right.
Is there an Italian version of that? Is it like chiffonato?
No, I think the French, they've patented that word.
All right. So we've got our basil, our garlic, all that in our crushed tomatoes. What else is going on in here?
So we have our kosher salt. Now, everybody likes different levels of salt. I know, personally, I like people who know me, and they're probably watching. I like a lot of salt. So I would say I don't have actually in your recipes, you notice I didn't put in an amount there for you. So I want you to go ahead and add a little bit at a time. Remember, you can always add more. You can never take away. Okay. Now you got to remember, some Marzano tomatoes have there's a lot more flavor in them, so they don't need so much salt. So just keep that in mind as you're adding the salt. So go ahead.
Hey, Chef, if you don't mind.
Yes.
People are asking how much dried basil that they should use, please.
Dried basil, you can use 2 teaspoons, even 3 teaspoons, or 1 tablespoon is good.
Nice. And dry oregano, is that in yet?
Same amount. You can use that 50-50.
Very good.
Carol, does that answer your question?
Answers my question.
That was perfect. Thanks, guys.
Wonderful. All right, I added a little more just because, again, I like a little more salt.
Yeah, your Nona's got that Windsor famous sopressata, right? Nice and salty.
It does, and I believe Nonna Carmelina's watching this.
Hey, Nonna Carmelina! For those of you who don't know, which you probably most of you don't know, I spent about 3 Christmases in a row at Chef Gaetano's place in Windsor. He was taking me to his local pizza joints, checking out some of the other local fun stuff, checking out the whiskey plants. So I wouldn't say I'm honorary Windsor, but I definitely got the full-fledged experience. All right,
So-
I'm tasting the sauce.
Absolutely. You're tasting with your finger. I'm going to use a spoon.
This is a family pizza, okay? How's
Beautiful,
everyone's
guys.
sauce? How's
Taste your sauce,
Chef?
let us know.
All right.
Delicious. Delicious.
Okay, awesome. Hey, I wanted to send it over to Isabel Hinch of Riot, the University of Windsor Cancer Research. We're going to talk about what this money goes to, how this money helps a worthwhile cause. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I first want to start by saying thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be able to personally thank you for your support. Yeah.
Hi, Isabel, we're having some audio issues from your microphone. It's cutting in and out.
Well, is that better?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I'll just get real up close and personal with everyone. So again, thank you to everyone for being here. I am a graduate student at the University of Windsor in Dr. Porter's Cancer Research Lab. And so I have been able to see firsthand
Sorry, the audio is cutting out on you again there.
Oh no. Oh, sorry about this.
Hey, there you go. We can hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. And so we're thankful for efforts like Relay for Life that not only raise awareness and inform and bring communities together, but also help young scientists researching cancer, and we are a diverse team behind students, biology, chemistry, computer science, physics, technology, and engineering. And we understand how difficult it may be to comprehend messages about cancer, let alone think about how engineering could relate to cancer. Understanding breast cancer change how breast and factors like childbearing and lactation may affect breast cancer susceptibility. And though I'm not in the kitchen today, I know that a research lab can be a little bit like a test kitchen. So we find the right ingredients. And once the menu is selected, you can order that pizza. You would never know the number of trials and errors, and the amount of time spent in the kitchen, and the amount of people involved in just curating that one slice of pizza. And so this is all true of research, except in our labs, our ingredients are not cheese and tomatoes, but proteins, DNA, and cells. And research and this is what helps to drive and continue to ask questions, to work beyond, and drive curiosity. And all these things are what push future programs forward. Just wrap it up by saying that being here today and knowing that there is this type of support for cancer research is truly motivating and helps all cancer researchers keep working hard to understand this disease and find new and better treatments for people. So again, thank you everyone who is watching, everyone donating, and enjoy your pizza.
Thank you so much, Isabel, and thank you for your warm and informative message. I know your audio was cutting out a little bit. If you didn't all catch that, please, you can check out Cancer Research website, Relay for Life, Windsor, Essex, for more information. But I'm sure that we all have somebody close and dear to us, either now or in the past, where we've experienced the heartache and the struggle that this cause is going to, well, help prevent or mitigate in the future. This is very dear to my heart. I know it's dear to Chef Gaetano's heart. We're not just here making pizza, although it is fun to make pizza. We're here to help support an awesome cause. So thank you again, Isabel. Chef Gaetano, how's your dough looking over there?
Chef Gaetano, you need to unmute your microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There we go.
So my dough's looking pretty good. It's starting to relax a little bit. Even though it is quick rise yeast, you still do need a little bit of time to let those proteins, those gluten proteins really come together and relax, because you just needed it, or kneaded. Is that past tense? I don't know. You just needed that dough. And it's very tight. Everything's very tight. It needs to relax a little bit before you start rolling it out.
Hold on, let me get this straight. For those of you out there who know Chef Gaetano, is Chef Gaetano really going to teach that dough to relax? Like, really?
Oh. Or wait?
No, you know what? You're the perfect amount of wound tight. Okay, that's why we work so well together. I was saying earlier, it's like you're Jack Lemmon, I'm Walter Matthau. We're the odder couple. Anyway, only some of you got that. Why don't we get started on our toppings? Show us what we're going to be working with today.
All right, guys. So I have. So again, we're going to be talking. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn this around here. We are working with our quintessential Windsor toppings. All right. Now, first and foremost is that galati cheese right here, and I'll tell you. When we started Ambassador Pizza, it was probably the hardest thing was to get the galati cheese up here to Toronto. But the Galati family worked with us very well, and we finally got the product up here. And that was probably one of the biggest concerns of Windsorites was, are they using galati cheese? We've had people contacting us in private saying, are you using galati cheese? Because if it's not real Windsor pizza. I can promise you, without a question of a doubt, if you want to come and take a look at our fridge, we are using galati cheese. I promise you. Okay? We are also using, what is one other ingredient that is the most quintessential ingredient of Windsor pizza? It is the shredded pepperoni. Okay? One more thing. And there's a lot of confusion about this up here in Toronto. If you're from Windsor, you know about it. You know about the canned mushroom. We know about the canned mushroom. But in Toronto, it takes some convincing that we're not doing this because we want to be cheap. There is a reason we're using canned mushrooms. And I have it on very good authority. I have a very good source that back in the day, I think it was Frank Gualtieri from Volcano Pizza. I believe his wife even said that they started using the canned mushrooms because the fresh mushrooms started to burn on the pizza. Whereas the canned mushrooms, they still hold the moisture, they hold the bite, and they hold the flavor. Okay, so there is a reason why we do use canned mushrooms. All right, it's not to be cheap. And actually, I can tell you one thing right now, is that the canned mushrooms are actually a little more expensive than fresh mushrooms right now.
That's right. Hey, Chef, I know you got some other toppings to use there, but before we move past the pepperoni and mushrooms, look, not all of us could get our hands on shredded pepperoni. Not all of us, even wanted to do the canned mushrooms. I suggest it, because obviously, but some people prefer fresh, and this is a judgment-free zone. So I'm actually going to be shredding my own pepperoni, just using a knife. I'm going to chop up my own pepperoni. I'm going to chop up my own mushrooms. So those of you out there not using shredded and not using canned mushrooms, you can watch me on my cutting board, go through that. I'm also going to be dicing up a little green pepper, so you could be watching my cutting board for some of that tutorial while Chef Gaetano tells you what else he might be throwing on his pizza.
So personally, I'm not a fan of olives, but you can add olives if you like. I know that's one of our big things in Windsor, either green olives or black olives. I'm not sure what side of the fence you fall on, but we use black olives at Ambassador. Another main ingredient is, personally for me, is the green peppers. Okay, and that's for today. I'm going to be making our pizza at Ambassador. I call it the 519. Okay, one more thing that is very Windsor pizza is the use of cornmeal on our dough. Now, the reason we use cornmeal, why are we using cornmeal and not flour? Well, you're using both. You're going to put the dough in the flour, and then at the end, on the bottom on your tray, you're going to put cornmeal. Now, why? Because that cornmeal is on the bottom. Once it hits your stone or your tray, it's going to create a little barrier. All right, and it's going to keep that dough nice and crispy. All right, so that there is a method to my madness.
Hey, speaking of nice and crispy, let's make sure everyone's preheated their oven at this point.
Absolutely.
What would you suggest? What would you suggest everyone at home preheat their oven to?
So I suggest you set your oven to about 500 degrees. If you're using a convection oven, maybe 450. But I don't really suggest using a convection, only because you don't want the top to burn. And that might happen if you're using a convection. So just put it on regular bake, 500 degrees if you can. If your oven can't go that high, then I suggest to maybe put it at 450 and go a little bit longer.
And what about your pizza oven at Ambassador? What does that oven go up to?
So that oven, we set that oven to about 500 degrees. Again, it's a stone deck oven. I know every pizzeria has, whether it's a gas or electric, the one we are using, we bring that to about 500 degrees directly onto the stone. The stone inside is actually looking at about 800 degrees. So yes, the atmosphere inside that oven is about 500, but the stone itself is going to be about 800.
Wow. And, I remember traveling through Italy and experiencing true Napolitan pizza, but this is totally different. I mean, different's good, different's okay, but you mind explaining, where Windsor pizza falls in terms of the Napolitan style pizza?
Well, it's very, very different. I would say it's the difference between Detroit style and Windsor style. It's a completely different dough. You're using almost a different sauce as well. The dough you're letting rest for a lot longer than you would for Napolitan style. You're letting the dough rest for a lot longer than you would with Windsor style pizza. In my opinion, Windsor style pizza, the dough is more similar to a New York. Okay, I'm not saying it's similar to a New York style pizza. Easy. I'm saying it's very similar to the New York style dough. Okay. Whereas you're looking at about 62 to 63% hydration, okay? And actually, if you would like to learn more about that, Chef Dave Mancini at Italia Bakery, they helped us create our dough because I can't think of anybody better who knows what they're doing than Chef Dave Mancini.
Amazing. Hey, so look, while we let everyone catch up on getting their toppings organized and we allow all of our doughs to proof a little bit longer, well, I think we've had some matching donations, and that means, Chef Gaetano, we got to see you do some pizza tricks now. Show us some dough tricks. For those of you who don't know,
I will spin it, but I don't know what tricks.
Hey, Chef Gaetano was in a Hollywood movie because of his pizza flipping techniques, okay? So he's very modest, everyone. He's very modest. I'm going to put you on the spot, man. This is the Chef Gaetano show. I'm going to finish chopping up my mushrooms in the meantime. You're up, my friend.
All right, well, if you blink, you're going to miss it, so stay tuned. So I take my dough. I've made this dough prior to coming today. And so what we do is I have this, I put my dough from the from the benching and proofing, I put it directly into the flour. And I take it out. Now, it's at room temperature right now. So it's very loose. And if you spin it, it's going to stretch it very quickly. If you want to do really high velocity spins, you want to use relaxed but cold dough, because you're going to get a tighter spin on that. It's going to be a little bit, it's not going to be as elastic, I should say. Sorry, it's going to be more elastic rather than relaxed. So I take it out of the dough or out of the flour, and I start using my fingers. Now, one thing is when you're rolling out dough, you really don't want to use a rolling pin. If you need to, that's fine. But you want to use your fingers, because if you use a rolling pin, you're going to roll out all those nice bubbles that the yeast created. All right, so I'm going to use my fingers. I'm just going to play piano here. Julian, Chef Julian's a great piano player there. So I'm going to bring it out here like this until my dough is nice and flat. I don't know if you can everybody see that? Are we good?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. All right, so I'm going to keep rolling it out. I'm going to take one hand, I'm going to flip it over onto my forearm. I'm going to bring it over onto my other with my hand flat out like this, and I'm just going to spin. Just like that.
That's awesome.
Now
Man,
again, this is room
that,
temperature. What's that?
If I tried that, there'd be dough like in my shirt somehow. I'd figure out how to. I'd be like eating half that dough.
Well, I've dropped a lot of dough to learn how to do this.
Hey, pun intended. All right, I got my toppings. You think we're all ready at home to start stretching out our dough?
Yeah, let's take a look. I want to make sure that the dough has enough time to relax. Yeah, mine's feeling okay right now. Let me just get
Chef, I
this
have a
one
couple
off
of
to the
questions
side
from
here.
the chat here.
Yep.
A couple questions. For onions, should they do any pre-cooking ahead of time?
Not at all. No, you want that nice raw bite of an onion. Depending on what kind of onion you're using, if you're using a Vidalia, it's perfect. If you're using a white onion, it might be a little too harsh. If you're using a red onion, that might be a little sweeter. But I would say a nice Vidalia onion would be the perfect.
Awesome. And another question is the middle rack in the oven the correct rack?
I mean, if you can get your oven to 500 degrees, I would say bring it down. I would say middle rack is fine. Julian, depending on how strong your ovens are, these are pretty strong, so I would say middle oven is fine.
Awesome. All right, I'm with you, man. It's the moment of truth.
Okay. I'm going to put this off to the side.
Now, you'll remind me when the cornmeal gets involved here, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. So we have our dough. Our dough has been resting. All right, I think we've been about 20 minutes at this point, if I'm not wrong. So now we're going to take our dough. Now you can cut this into two and knead it again and let it rest, but we're going to make one big pizza. How about that? Okay, we're going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to put it directly into our flour. Okay, remember everybody has a little bit of extra flour, correct?
Yeah, chef.
All right. Now we want to make sure that entire dough ball is covered in flour.
I like the way you smack it around a little. All right, so what are you doing there? So you flattened it?
So I flattened my dough, and I want to make sure that once it comes out of the flour, it's staying round. If it has a little corner, then you're going to get a pizza with a corner on it. You want to keep it nice and round throughout the whole process of rolling this out. Now, again, you're using your hands. You want to use the tip, not quite the tips of your finger, but kind of, the balls here of your fingers. And you're going to press that out. Now, don't really worry about the middle of the pizza. The middle of the pizza will work itself out, okay? We're going to look at the sides here. We want to create a bit of a crust. That's where we're going to push in. We're going to push in with our fingers all the way around, and we're going to have this big mound of dough right in the center. Okay, what happens if you work too much in the middle? Then you're just going to create this big donut with a big hole in your pizza. So work on the outside of your pizza first. Once you get it like this, I don't know if anybody can see that. If you can kind of see where, I don't know if there's a glare there. I
can see you.
You see it? So you can see there's kind of a mound in the middle. All right, that's kind of where you want to start. Now, you have this mound in the middle. You have a bit of a moat, pressed down moat with a bit of a crust. Now it's time to start working on the middle. Again, you're using this part of your fingers right here, just like you were playing piano, and you're going to keep pressing that down until the entire dough is nice. You don't want to have patches of thin spots. You don't want to have patches of big, thick spots. If you need flour. Be liberal. Be liberal with the flour. You can use cornmeal at this point as well. I know there's a lot of pizzerias that use cornmeal at this stage as well, but I like using the flour at this point. If you need to flip it over, that's fine as well. If you're using a rolling pin, remember to keep, once you're finished, remember to keep your crust going. And I'll show you guys how to form your crust in a few minutes. So we're going to continue to do this with our fingers. Now, once we get all of our dough to be nice and even, now we're going to use the flats of our hands and we're going to stretch. We're going to stretch and twist, stretch and twist, stretch and twist.
And
now,
Chef,
yes.
Sorry, if my dough is sticking a little bit to the counter, I can add a little bit of flour?
Absolutely, you can add more flour.
All right. There we go. I like this. I'm feeling really confident, like I can throw this in the air like you did. Okay, never mind. You've stripped me of my, hey, nice one, Mayor.
Yeah, all right.
Hey!
All right, so we're going to continue to stretch and twist. Stretch, am I yelling? I feel like I'm yelling.
You're always yelling, man.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
Sounds good to us.
All right, okay, great.
So one quick question, Chef. I seem to have broken a tiny little hole in the middle of my dough. What do I do now?
Okay, so you got to go down to your local bakery and ask them to get the dough repair kit. Okay, it's very important that you ask them the dough repair kit.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding. Here, as an example, here I'll make a little tear in my dough here like that. Okay, so I have a little tear. All I'm gonna do is take one flap, fold it over, and use the ball of my hand and correct it. That's it. Done.
Oh. All right, that was easy. Okay. How does my dough look?
It looks great. We want to make them round. Very good. So guys, at this point, we should have a nice round pizza dough. All right? It should be even. Okay, you might have a little bubble there, that's fine. It should be even consistency all the way through. Okay, now if you need a rolling pin again to achieve that, that's fine. What we're gonna do now, and Julian, this is where we're gonna be using our cornmeal, okay? So we're gonna be taking our cornmeal, and we're gonna be giving a very healthy portion on the bottom here. Now, if you're using, now if there's any pizzerias watching this right now, you're saying, no, you gotta use a paddle or a wooden paddle. Well, I would be putting the cornmeal on a wooden paddle right now and putting our dough on the wooden paddle, okay? But because we're using a steel tray, we're using a residential oven, and do this a little differently too. We're gonna take our dough, and we're gonna add it right to our tray like this. Make sure everybody's with me at this stage. Okay?
We have a question here
Now,
in the
one
chat.
good way, now you want to make sure that it's not moist. Hold on. We want to make sure it's not moist, and we want to make sure it's not sticking. So one trick, you want to make sure it slides around like that. All right, slides around. No, you see no sticky spots in the middle or on the edges. Julian,
All right.
go ahead.
Oh, we had a question from the audience. Go ahead.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Yeah, they're asking, would a pizza screen work well in a hot home oven, or should it be only used on a pizza stone? Or in a real pizza oven?
You know, I've been making pizzas a very long time, and I've never actually had to use a pizza screen. If I'm using a pizza screen, it's maybe to reheat pizza, but it's never really to make them. I know there are some pizzerias that do make the pizzas directly on the screen, but I would say you're probably best just to put it directly on the stone.
Very good. Okay.
So guys, we have our dough. Hold on a second. This is the one more thing that I've only seen in Windsor. Our dough is on our tray. Now you want to create the crust. Now, I'm sure everybody in Windsor went to go see how their pizza is being made. They've always seen their pizzaiolo doing this, crimping the sides. Okay. Now that is another thing that is very significant. You're creating your crust. Not only that, you're creating a barrier for your sauce, so that your sauce does not flop over and mess up your pizza.
I wonder if Joel has a pizza crust crimper over there. They got a tool for everything, right?
We have a tool for everything, but you already have the pizza crust crimper with your 2 hands.
Hey,
that's right.
That's not a good way to sell an avocado scooper, is it?
I think we have 7 different types of avocado tools.
All right, everyone. So I don't know about you. I think Julian, are you at this stage?
I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Well, wonderful, guys. Beautiful. Okay, excellent. All right, so now we're going to start adding our sauce. I think everybody is with us at this stage right now. And now our sauce has been sitting there. It's been marinating. I'm going to take maybe 1 or 2 ladles, depending on how much sauce you want. If you want a lot of sauce, that's fine. Just remember, the more sauce you add, the more you risk of having a very soggy dough or a soggy crust at the bottom. You'll be fine, but then you need to eat it right away. So I like to add just a bit at first. We start right in the middle. Okay. And I gauge, you know what, I'm going to add just a little bit more. Just for myself, I like a little bit.
You're a saucy guy.
Oh, boy.
Come on, you miss me. You miss me, guy.
I do. So we're gonna take the bottom of our ladle. If you're using a spoon like Julian, that's fine as well. But you want to start off using very small motions, small circular motions. You have to go clockwise.
Oh.
Counterclock? I'm kidding.
Dude, I thought you were karate kidding me. I thought I was going to start waxing on, waxing off here.
Slowly make your way outwards, because that's going to push the sauce evenly out on your pizza. All right? Now, if you need to add a little more, no problem. Add just a little more and do the same thing. And start again.
An extra sauce, you know what? This will last in your fridge at least a few days, or you said you could freeze it.
You can freeze this. You can jar it. You can hermetically seal it. You can put it in a jar and boil it and seal it and put it in the cantina with the other tomato sauce. That'll be fine. You should be listening to Italian music while you do this, though.
Hey, I could sing. I'm just... You wouldn't even speak Italian today. For those of you at home, Chef Gaetano is a little embarrassed about his Italian accent, the way he speaks. I told him to just let it out, let it free, right? We're not in Italy anymore. I'm not going to be singing O Sole Mio, that's for sure.
All right, guys. Well, we see this here. Okay, it's nice, evenly spread. Notice how I don't have any tomato sauce on the pan itself, or on the floor, or on the counter. It's just directly on the pizza like this, and you have your crust showing. The crimp that you did is holding that tomato sauce at bay. So now your recipe says we're going to put that in the in the middle rack, and we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And what should we set our timer to? 4 or 5 minutes?
I would say let's set our timer for about 5 minutes. But again, if you have a more powerful oven, just keep an eye on it. All right, you kind of have to use a bit of judgment call here. I would say 5 minutes is a safe bet. But again, if you find every oven's different.
And are we able to go back to Mayor Bondi? I'd like to hear, maybe you've learned a thing or two during this class so far.
A thing or two. ask Joel. I went in there to get a knife sharpened. I walked out with a whole set of knives, and he wanted to fit my hand. I said, "Oh no, my hand doesn't touch a knife. It'll touch a hammer." So talking to a guy who is not frequent in the kitchen at all.
Oh, very good. Well, I mean, I always find that food and culture and history, they're glued together. So, I mean, can you really have Windsor in all of its beauty without its Windsor pizza, without all of the other traditional things that are just so key for Windsor, right?
Totally agree with you. And we have a lot of pizza places around here. I'm not going to mention names because I would be pointing them out, but I do go to the stores in LaSalle, and there's 2 or 3, maybe 4. But, I try to share the wealth, if you will.
Yeah, well, right on. How about you, Joel? You learned a thing or two today so far?
Yeah, I learned that that batch of dough didn't fit on my pants.
Very good.
Yeah,
It's a healthy size.
And it's the first time that I've used a double O's flour, and I was amazed by how quickly that relaxed.
Yeah. How it becomes a lot more, just again, relaxed. You're right, relaxed, for lack of a better word.
Very good.
Julian, I should add that I've learned everything from the prep work. I've been in this kitchen since 3 o'clock trying to get things ready.
Oh.
And I really respect my wife that much more after 38 years, what she does in the kitchen. So thank you. But I also have to do a shout out why we're doing this. It's affected my family personally, and I know it's affected a lot of people's families. So my wife came with a saying when it affected her son. She said, "It doesn't affect you until it affects you." So we have to keep that in mind, that any contribution we can do to help, we're fighting a good cause. Let's keep that.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for you two for being here, and Joel and everybody else.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Now, while we're just waiting for our pizza to come out of the oven of that first round of cooking, Chef Gaetano, you're from Windsor. You've only taken me to a few places. Not asking you to highlight various restaurants in Windsor, but maybe tell me a few key parts of your childhood, something from your memories that's really true to your heart when it comes to Windsor. I'm sure we all want to hear some good, heartwarming stories.
Well, I would have to say, first and foremost, my love of pizza. The first stories that really come to mind is when I was in high school, and anybody who's watching this who went to St. Anne's, there was Costello's Pizza back in the day. Then we all went there for lunch for their massive slices. I mean, these slices were a good foot long, and I used to get 2 of them for $5. I mean, they're one slice for $2.25, so for $4.50 actually. And that's what I wanted to create here at Ambassador Pizza. It's one of just something that we can't get here. And actually, I know now they changed owners. Actually, Costello's changed owners into they're called something else now. I won't mention the name, but if you're in Tecumseh, you're on L'Esperance there, you know what it is, and they sell the giant slice, and they are known for it. It's a great pizza. But some of the most quintessential pizzerias that have branched off from that original volcano. I can say it: Antonino's, Armando's, Free, Arcata. I mean, there's so many other ones. Naples. There's so many other ones that I'm not mentioning that deserve the shout out. Como's and Mario's, and it's just the whole thing. I think I was destined to become first of all to become a chef, but to have a pizzeria of my own. And I've been asked a question many times, and I want to set the record straight. I get asked, when am I going to open up a pizzeria in Windsor? And the answer is, we are not. Windsor already has good pizza. They don't need me to come down there and show them what's up. We're very spoiled down there with pizza. So
that's very kind and modest of you, Chef Guy. But I'm sure everyone would appreciate your high quality stuff over in Windsor. Hey, look, I just took my pizza out. Round
Absolutely.
one. It's been in there 5 minutes. Tell me what to do next. I'm getting hungry.
Oh, that tomato sauce smells great. All right. So you probably noticed that our sides have started to brown a little bit. All right, that's exactly what you want. Some of the moisture in the tomato sauce has evaporated. And that's kind of what you want as well, because this way you're not going to get a really soggy pizza. So now we're going to take, I don't know, I think this is enough cheese, eh, Jules?
Yeah. Dude, this cheese smells like butter. Like, I'm taking the rest of this.
It is basically butter, yes. So, again, you want to give yourself a nice, healthy portion of cheese all the way around, and make sure you're going all the way up to the crust.
And do you still want to be able to see the sauce through
It all
the
depends.
cheese?
Personally, I would rather see cheese.
And after my own heart.
But you know what? Depending on, because remember, cheese is very expensive. So, you know, it's okay to see a little bit of sauce through that cheese, because it will melt and it will come together.
All right, this is beautiful. Now we rock the toppings.
So at this point, guys, you can add whatever toppings you like. Again, I'm going to be making our 519 from Ambassador Pizza, and we have a few pizzas that are you know, they're from home. They're the same kind of pizzas that you would find at any of the pizzerias at home. But today we're going to be using the green peppers. I'm going to start off with some of my green peppers.
You know what I love about doing stuff like this, like making your own pizza, is, you know, all too often I'll get delivery or takeout or at a restaurant, and there's just like never enough of the good stuff. You know, never enough toppings, never enough cheese. And when you do it on your own, you have full control, right?
Absolutely. You don't want to be cheap.
Is there such thing as too much topping?
Yes, there is actually. I mean, if you're putting too much, if you're putting, you know, say 5 or 6 toppings, you got to remember all those toppings hold moisture. And when that comes out of the oven, you're not going to get that nice piece of pizza. It's going to droop and it's just going to be too thick. That bottom is not going to cook properly, and that cheese is not going to cook properly as well.
I hope you don't mind. I'm going to leave the green peppers out of this one. I have very few things in the culinary world that don't turn me on, and green peppers is one of them. All right.
So specific.
It's very specific. How's that look?
Gorgeous.
Hey, there it is.
All right. So I'm just finishing up with my mushrooms.
When we're ready to pop this in the oven, what should we set our next timer to?
We should set it for about 7 to 8 minutes. Again, depending on the strength of your oven. And then once that's finished, we'll take a look. If it needs a little longer, that's fine. You be the judge of that. Some people like their pizzas well done. Some people like them just a little under.
Well, and you do something pretty cool at Ambassador, right? Because these days you want to pick up your pizza, you want to bring it home, you want to maybe flash it back in the oven to heat it back up. You actually undercook your pizzas slightly for people that request that, right?
Absolutely. We have people coming from out of town. Here, I'm going to put this in the oven now. All right, and then I'll explain that. Okay, so our pizza is finished. It's going to go in the oven. All right, now we wait. So yes, I think anybody who's ever lived out of town or went away, I know any pizzeria in Windsor, they par cook their pizza. They cook it halfway or cook it about 80% of the way. They package it, and then people who are leaving back to Toronto or the States or wherever, they can come home, put it in the oven, and then cut it. It's nice and fresh. So we have a lot of people coming from usually the north, from Ottawa. I had a guy drive in from Sault Ste. Marie just for our pizza, and I par cooked it for him. This way, when he got home, he could put it in. Now that's a long way, so I don't recommend that. But we have, I know that Windsor Pizza has had instances where they've shipped their pizza out to Germany. So think of the logistics in that.
Hey, that's a big like thumbs up for Windsor there, sending it all the way to Germany. Very cool. And I don't know if everyone out there knows, but you know, you have a lot of roots in Windsor as well, in a grocery store, right? A grocer?
Yes, my family owns La Stella's grocery store there, La Stella's supermarket, and that's something that we hold very near and dear as well. If you're not only if you're Italian, but if you're in the Erie Street area, that is it's a staple.
Right on. And you got to work there as a kid, you know, look at your grandfather.
No, I never worked there. No, my parents worked there. I never worked there as a kid. My grandfather worked there when they moved to Windsor. Both my mother and father, I believe, met there.
Wow. Amazing. I think that's one of the reasons we got along so well at the beginning. We have that similar kind of connection. Those who know my last name, Panzer, I'm the 4th generation owner of the oldest Jewish deli in Ontario, Panzer's Deli, around Bathurst in the 401. So when you and I met, we started exchanging our family and cooking stories. I'm like, hold on, your grandfather was a butcher? My grandfather was a butcher.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a immediate friendship right there.
And Joel, or I feel like, I don't know, Joel, I've heard it two different ways. You know, you're in Windsor, like, well, what's your connection? What's your history there? I feel like I don't know you yet.
Well, if you're talking about family roots, our family's been in the River Canard area. That's just outside of Windsor, right in and outside of LaSalle. We've been there for almost 300 years now.
Wow.
We were, it's been a while. So quite a few generations farming and taking care of the land, and a lot of connections to our local parish, and really good family roots to where we are. So we love the area.
And Mayor Bondi, if you don't mind me asking the same question, you know, what's your, tell us something deep, some deep connection you have with Windsor. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I'm like Joel. Grandmother, but I grew up where Joel is, River Canard, which is old heritage from the French back in my great-grandfather built the home that my mother was in. She's in a home now. From a pizza place, there's no better pizza in this area. I mean, one thing about the Benetos, the Bondis, the DeRoches and Droulards and everyone who's been here forever, I can't speak for all of them, but we love our pizza. And now it's handed down. And now the grandkids. So it's a tradition that we sit around and talk and tell stories about pizza. What's your favorite? You know, there's so many different pizza toppings. As you said, you can't put too many. I prefer less toppings, but more of, like Julian said, more of the ones I like. So you get your favorite place and they do it the way you like it, and there's different ways.
Yes, I had to mute your mic, so you have to unmute to reply.
Thank you for that. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I got to say a big thank you, Mayor Bondi, for donating a very generous amount just now, leading the charge. Hey, can we have an update on donations just before our pizzas come out of the oven and we all show off our stuff? If we've got a total amount, I'd love to share that with everyone. How's our pizza looking, Guy?
It's going to need another few minutes. I'd say
right.
Another 5 minutes. Let it go. Let it crisp up on the bottom. If you're using a stone at home, by the way, you might be finished a little sooner than if you're using a steel tray. Just keep that in mind.
All right. Awesome. Very good. Very good.
Smoke detectors work because those might go off. That's just a cornmeal. Don't worry.
Very good. Actually, there was one. Sorry, go ahead.
To answer your question there, we're at over $8,000 in donations right now.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
That's great. Fantastic.
We are at over $8,000 in donations, everyone, and the cooking class isn't over yet. We still have lots of time to donate. And again, if you'd like to donate, you can either go to the eventbrite.ca website, go to the event page, you can donate there. You'll find also a link on our YouTube stream in the description. And if you're on here, if you check out the chat box, you'll be able to see a link there as well. Keep the donations flowing. This is always a fantastic cause. Unfortunately, this cause is not going away, so as much as we can support it, all the better, right? I'm going to check out my pizza now as my timer goes off. My ovens are nice and hot. Everyone at home's checking out their pizzas. I'm going to be checking in with our guests here. Oh, that is
a little note for everyone at home. If you're checking your pizzas, please check out the bottom of your pizza. Make sure it's nice and crispy. If it's a little too white, just leave it in there a little longer or put it directly on the rack. But be careful because that might spill.
All right. Mine's done. Mine's out, man.
Beautiful. I still got a few more minutes on mine, I think. Yeah, I'm
good.
Gonna go a little longer.
Gentlemen, when your pizzas are ready, I'd love to see them.
Absolutely. Why don't we get, if everybody out there, why don't we take pictures of your we'll That would be a great,
we'll probably have about 1,000 pictures that all look fairly the same.
That's fantastic.
Right?
That's fantastic.
It's like, is that shredded pepperoni on there?
Yeah. We want to educate the rest of the world on shredded pepperoni.
All right, we got to start pushing our chefs here. Joel, how long on pizza? How long to the window?
This one here should be almost done.
There you go. Your honorable mayor. How long on your pizza?
You got me. I just looked at it. It's not the color you said it should be, so.
All right. Well, Chef Gaetano, I at least got to see your pizza. I got to see that mine looks at least half as good as yours.
Yeah.
All right, let's see it. Come on. I know you were going to undercook that to send it home to me anyway, right?
There we go, guys.
All right. Hey, let's throw it in the window. Let's let our pizzas say thank you. And get everyone hungry at home. Let's see it, Chef. Oh, hey, Joel, that looks amazing. Nice job.
Mark, I know you have some fans in the chat that want to see yours. There we go.
Wow, nice job, everyone. Delicious. Well, while we cut into our pizzas, I just wanted to say on behalf of myself at the Chef Upstairs, thank you so much for joining us, Chef Gaetano.
Thank you, everyone. Chef Gaetano here, and everybody at Ambassador Pizza, Chef Rennie Chauvin as well. We thank you for having us a part of this awesome cause and awesome event. Thank you so much.
And thank you to Carol, to Joel, to Mayor Bondi for joining us today, for putting this on. And without further ado, to send us off with a lovely finale, over to Mindy Glover, the co-chairperson for Relay for Life. Let's wrap this up so we can all say buon appetito. Enjoy.
Buon appetito.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mindy, and as I was introduced, I am Community Engagement Director for the Essex County Relay for Life Committee. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank Chef Julian Panzer of the Chef Upstairs and Chef Gaetano of Ambassador Pizza Co. for hosting this class and for teaching us all about Windsor-style pizza. We would also like to thank Williams Food Equipment for being our premier sponsor for tonight's event, and Chef Benito, thank you for joining us. We would also like to thank Galati Cheese, La Stella, and Families First for donating your time and resources to help make this event such a success. Mayor Bondi of LaSalle and Mayor McNamara of Tecumseh, thank you guys for joining us tonight as well. And last but not least, we would like to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for your participation tonight and for your donations.
I think this goes without saying that this past year has been very difficult on each and every one of us. And this is especially true for those affected by cancer. Now, more than ever, those affected by cancer need your support. And Relay for Life and fundraising efforts are two of the most impactful ways that we can help improve the quality of life of those affected by cancer and help open our community. This will be the second year that COVID-19 has forced the Windsor Essex Relay for Life event to pivot to a virtual platform. So no matter where you are geographically, you can join us virtually on June 12th to participate in Relay for Life. If you visit www.relayforlife.ca/Essex County, you can sign up as a participant for Relay for Life or as a participant of Hope, which includes anyone who is living with cancer, has survived cancer, or those with a genetic predisposition to the disease. Even though this year we will be physically apart, we all relay together, whether you relay in a park or in your living room. And community is something that is felt on the inside just as much as it is about being connected on the outside. So thank you. Thank you for helping us prove that our community is bigger than cancer. And I hope to see you on June 12th at Relay for Life. Thank you, everyone, and stay safe.
That looks delicious. Hey, Gaetano, we forgot to do a Werner's cheers.
Oh, Gaetano, your mic is muted.
There you go. Hey, cheers, my friend. I don't know how you got your hands on this, but thank you.
Old Burners.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you, everybody. That'll be the end of our stream. We really appreciate everybody coming out. I really want to thank both chefs here, the mayor. I want to thank Joel and Williams for having this and making this possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.